The following contains major spoilers for Legend of the Galactic Heroes Gaiden and minor spoilers for the main series. Legend of the Galactic Heroes, a tale of epic proportions between the Galactic Empire and the Free Planets Alliance, fighting for control of the galaxy, spanning a 110 OVA main series, 2 movies, and 52 episodes of prequel. Having heard from peers from the presentation of the show feels like as if you're watching history unfold right before your eyes, and given its heavy use of dates and narration after important events like this.
宇宙歴788年、帝国歴479年5月。
Watch the main series in chronological order using this chart with the motif of viewing this as watching history unfold right before me, and I felt the Gaiden series was packed with immense details that set up the main series incredibly well, as it takes the time to set up its characters from when they were still in the academy and rising through the ranks, with helping us understand the story for when we get to the main time period, and foreshadows key elements of important decisions and the reason they do so to come later on in the main series. So let's dive in. The 3 main characters that Gaiden revolves around are primarily Yang Wei-Li, Reinhardt, and Kirkiais, and how their manifestations are rooted from their past and the missions they are given. The first thing is Yang's passions and motives as a teenager, as he aspires to be a historian, but his dad is reluctant in telling him the lesson of money, as it allows you the freedom of not having to work for people you don't like and not letting politicians get out of control. Ironically, his father passing away leaves him no money for Yang to enter Heinesen Memorial University due to his father being in debt and having a fake art collection, forcing him to join the military academy. Yang makes the most out of the situation, showing glimpses of brilliance during his academy years as he beats the current top student Wyborn in a battle simulation, but his weakness of complacency and disinterest in other subjects grants him a graduate status of being middle of the pack. His first major feat being forced to the task of evacuating the people of El Facil, in which Yang takes the advantage of his admirals and others abandoning the planet early. Yang decides to go in the opposite direction with the citizens. The admiral is caught, but Yang and the citizens are able to escape, off the mistake that an imperial soldier thinks no one would be so oblivious as to not hide themselves from the empire, so it just must be some asteroids, which intrigues Yang with tactics, as history repeats itself and people are bound to repeat the same mistakes. So thus, the hero of El Facil is born. Only about a quarter of Gaiden is focused on Yang. The other 3/4 are mainly dedicated to Reinhardt and his friend Kirkiais, as Yang's status is mainly stagnant for now. Now, what Gaiden does a great job of is highlighting just how important and genuine Kirkiais and Reinhardt's friendship is, as they both conquest together and rising through the ranks of the Empire's military, beating whatever is in their way. From corrupted officials to assassins to the Free Planets Alliance, Reinhardt wants victory and everything that comes with it. Reinhardt's motives are fueled by anger and ambition for his dad selling his sister to the Kaiser, the only family he has, and desires to truly make the Empire the best it can be, as his anger is fueled from aristocrats being privileged and able to get ahead of others and make influential decisions based on their status alone, for how he's constantly besmirched by other admirals for attaining a higher rank due to his sister being a mistress of the Kaiser, rather than looking at his accolades or merit, the generals that lack intelligence and tactics to win the battles that could lead to victory and possibly end the war. His ambitions for wanting to see people treated equally, as he stands up for Hase, being the best student in his class but expelled for lying about his genetic disorder, colorblindness, as the Empire forbids any soldier to have any genetic disorder. His genuine care for his commoner crew members by saving one of them, as one of the crew members starts drifting away in space, to not waste a single soldier's life in battle, to gaining his angelical ship, the Brunhild, and the noble name Lonigram, a name not only for great militaristic feats, but to gain aristic societal power. For all his determination and drive, there is still a sorrow. His ineptness for when he cannot help his sister indirectly, as his sister is the real resolver for her friend, by getting the Kaiser to help settle a duel that Reinhardt entered into to save Anna Rose's friend's crops. For when Reinhardt can actually does get promoted in rank, he still lacks the power to make the change he sees fit. Even in succession, he still comes up short, for he cannot help Anna Rose get out of her situation. The negative emotions stew inside Reinhardt, feeding those emotions too much at times, becoming a weakness in his own. The visions he seeks to seize power are lofty and grand, as he can get clouded by his own judgment at times. His arrogance showcased on the battlefield, toying with the Alliance, treating the battlefield as a place to implement hard maneuvers on the fly, and almost gets thwarted. His discouragement for when he loses sight of the journey at times, and can only see his destination. The emotions that come from Reinhardt's experience allows us to truly empathize for Reinhardt, and to be involved and give reason to root for him to achieve his objectives, even though his ideals are to side with the Empire and have a dictatorship in place. But whenever Reinhardt stumbles or is lost, the person who he deems a friend, Kircheis, is there to pick him up, to watch his back, be his companion in battle, and keep the promise they made to each other. That together they will never lose, and give him a clear view of the progress that he has made during his journey, and helping Reinhardt see the positives and even in the most mundane and frustrating situations they find themselves in, from boring administrative work to being stuck on a meaningless battle on a frozen planet. Kircheis pours himself into his kinship for when Reinhardt is down or struggling, and to fulfill the promise he keeps to Anna Rose to not just be a servant at the expense of Reinhardt, but to be mutually indispensable to each other, hoping one day that Anna Rose can reciprocate the same way for him. One of the elements that Gaiden does a really good job of is its world building. Starting from episode 1, we are given a sense of scale, and that is space. A wild and vast area where there are endless possibilities and unique interactions that occur, coming from a spectrum of different planets. And Gaiden explores some of those subworlds and the rules that take place, revealing more of what the galaxy was doing around this time. For Young, he is given one assignment of learning about the world of the past with Bruce Ashby and his group, who at the time was the most successful admiral and crew that the Free Planets Alliance ever had. After gathering information from others and captured people from the Empire, Young learns about an Empire espionage team that would leak their battle plan information to Ashby. How Ashby was a master of making the most of his information, justifying his actions because at times his decisions would be questionable from a strategic point of view, but these decisions would later be effective in battle and he would be hailed by history. But Ashby isn't the savior of the Free Planets Alliance though. Even with his victories, he wasn't able to change the tide of the war, and made a detrimental mistake after the second battle of Tiamat as he decides to not build a fortress only for the Empire to pounce on the opportunity and build their own fortress, which gives them the upper hand to not only set up base, but to make an easier offensive against the Alliance. So the Alliance desperately tries to overtake the fortress so they can right their wrong in history, leading to the stage being set to where countless of battles will have and be fought to seize the fortress. With Reinhardt and Kircheis, Reinhardt enters the duel to help Anna Rose's friend not lose all their crops and is treated as a sports event where people can bet on the outcome with its own rules. Each contestant is allowed 2 pistols with 1 bullet each, taking 10 steps back to turn and fire. The main objective is to not kill, as it is considered a win, but will bring you the utmost shame on you. Instead, is to stop your opponent from continuing the duel. So ideally is to hit them in the shoulder or arm, and if a winner cannot be decided by guns, then it will be decided by swords and fists. And we see Reinhardt practice his pistol work for the duel, and somewhat struggle with his aim because of the pistol's recoil. The show adds this nice little detail because Reinhardt never had to worry about the recoil from his space pistol, adding more believability to our world and characters for how they live in and adjust to even the tiniest measures. The rules of aristocratic sport, the world of underground espionage to the depths of space battles and ground combat. Each world requires a different mind, and Young, Reinhardt, and Kircheis' brilliance of problem solving and gathering information are on full display. This part kind of bleeds into the characters and world building, but the rivalry between Reinhardt and Yang is just too special and definitely deserves its own part. As Gaiden is the true birth of the rivalry between Young and Reinhardt, which starts off as Reinhardt trying a difficult maneuver where he tries to retreat in the front and pass to the side so he can attack from the back. Young spots this, what Reinhardt's trying to do, and Young creates a plan to enclose him, making Reinhardt lose a third of his fleet at the time. They don't know each other yet, but each character acknowledges the others as smart. And from here on to the main series, Young and Reinhardt push each other to be great. Reinhardt's relentlessness in pursuit of power forces Young to be a leader himself, because he is the only character that can match Reinhardt in wit, and each character devises up their own hand-picked team, both striving to end the war with goals of democracy and the other a dictatorship. The reasons why each person is picked on their respective team is through Gaiden. When Reinhardt is rising in the ranks, he finds the talent he wishes he would someday have under his belt. Through the missions he accomplishes with Bittenfield's fast maneuvers in the 6th Battle of the Easterland Fortress, or Litz's advice to Reinhardt about putting his non-shooting arm under his shooting arm to reduce the recoil of the pistol. The promise that Reinhardt makes to Kessler to make the most out of him, Muller working as a liaison military officer to provide intelligence for Reinhardt to capture information on the directional particle generator. Royenthal and Mittenmeyer have their main arcs in the main series, but their success in the battle is noted. With Yang, even he finds people that he admires in the Alliance. He has handed the Rosenritters, a group of soldiers that have defected from the Empire and are considered rambunctious and misunderstood for their witty remarks and taunting the enemy. Introduce Shen Kap. His goals before he met Yang wanted a competent leader that he could follow orders from and bring justice to the Rosenritters, to be more than just propaganda for the Alliance, but to seek closure by defeating the one opponent he couldn't beat in ground combat, which is Lunenburg, who defected back to the Empire. He picks Petrovich for how he believes in the idea of democracy and has good physical strength, his friendship with Dusty for how they synergized well in a battle simulation, and his ability to minimize losses when retreating. Frederica being influenced by Yang at Alpha Seal and entering the Academy, and Yang picking Frederica for her merits at the Academy, and Mirai's ability to stick to reason and give good frameworks. With each general picking their teams only intensifies the rivalry as each character grows to have more of the ability to change their static environments in Gaiden, to fluctuating power struggles in the main series, to rewrite history in extreme fashion. And to see each character attain these abilities from a person who couldn't even persuade their respective generals in their own military to where the outcome of a battle puts the entire galaxy at stake, sets up the main series to be all that more impactful and cathartic. Everything in Gaiden for me carried some importance to the main series, all the little references that are made to further stretch the enormous character web I had and expand upon the little details that carried future ramifications, made me sense that no episode was wasted. Telling its story or sharing the thoughts and feelings of our characters, and when, spoiler alert, a lot of these characters do die, it had me more emotional and poignant. It made me cherish the time I spent with the characters that much more. If you have made it this far into the video, thank you for listening. If you haven't seen Legend of the Galactic Heroes, I would recommend the chronological watch order, and if not, but definitely check out the main series, and give Gaiden series a watch if you already have seen the main series. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, links down below in the description box. And huge thank you to my editor, ABTV Productions. I'll see you in the next one, and have a great day.